Welcome to the Fans of Fitness podcast, a voice for fitness, health, and wellness professionals. The National Personal Training Institute of Arizona.
Legit instructors teaching you.
No, enough of those bad reps. The good quality trainers that come out of the school.
Let's get into it.
Melissa, certified nutrition specialist, hypnotherapist, and transformation coach, and soon to be graduate of the National Personal Training Institute of Arizona. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
It's good to be here,
Yes,
finally.
Finally. Been trying to get you to come on here for weeks. You ran out of excuses, and finally you're
My
here.
schedule just cleared up, you know.
Right. So what's been
Today's the
happening?
day. Not a whole lot. I just started the second term at NPTI. The first term was amazing. We did the anatomy thing, so I learned about all the muscle groups and got to go out and, you know, work out in the gym and figure out what hits what, and so that was really cool. And now I'm excited for the second half of school.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun. We got nutrition, PNF stretching. We just had Emily in here. And then on Thursdays, you have me talking all day about business and program design.
Which is super important.
Oh,
So.
yeah, it's very important. It's actually my favorite thing to teach outside of anatomy. I like anatomy a lot, but I love teaching business because that's where it all comes together, and that's where we find our success. We can be super smart and know a lot, be highly educated, but if we don't know how to implement business to grow our business, then kind of stuck in the mud, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where a lot of people fail is the business component. There's been a lot of smart coaches that I've met that should be a lot further along with their career than they are, just because they don't know the steps or how to, you know, from the things like gain clients, filling their books, getting referrals, testimonials, websites, landing pages,
Absolutely.
social media, which is, you know, it's not a must, but if you're going to be in the realm of like personal training in the online world, you kind of have to have social media.
Well, and it's a great way to like put your message out there.
Yeah.
So like social media can be a amazing tool if you have something to say and you want to voice it to a bunch of people. It's really, really great for that. And, you know, I think that we're really lucky that we get to use that as a tool. And knowledge has been spread so far now because, you know, you can just search for anything online and you can find what you're looking for, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
But you can also find a lot of bad information too. So you got to kind of be careful about where you're getting your information from.
Yes, you do. There's a lot of that out there. A lot of people go to, you know, TikTok to find workouts.
Yeah,
that
I'm not
may
a
or may
TikTok
not.
person. I just,
It is addicting.
yeah,
I have it, but I don't look at it.
yeah. I try to spend as the least amount of time on social media as possible because I do social media for a couple other people as well as myself. So I just try to not be on social media all the time. So
Yeah.
I go on there to post or to look at certain things and then I just get off of it.
Do you have like a stopwatch and you're like, all right, you give yourself like 5 minutes. Do you say, hey, Siri, set timer for 5 minutes and then get off when it goes off?
No.
Or sometimes you just sit there for an hour and a half like I do from time to time. You're like, I just waste. Did you? I just set the timer on. Like, Siri, stop timer.
Siri is always listening.
Stop listening to my conversations. It's funny. Anyway, that happens in class sometimes. I'll say something and my watch Siri will pop up. I didn't even say Siri.
That's so funny. Yeah.
I do like how they give you now how much time you've spent during the week
Yeah.
on your phone.
Yeah, that is really nice. And then you're like, well, I gotta, you know, it gives you a way to set a SMART goal, being like, I'm gonna decrease an hour of phone time a week.
Mhm.
Those SMART goals.
Yes. We just went over SMART goals.
Yeah. I went over all of that when I went to school to be a health and wellness coach as well.
Yeah.
But having the refreshers and going over it again, it's so beneficial to just hear it over and over again because you hear things that you don't remember. And so then you're like, oh, yeah, I could try this and I
Yeah.
can try that and I can try this. So like even when you revisit your books and you revisit all your notes and all of that stuff, like relearning everything, just remaining teachable, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you might pick it up and it's in your brain, but sometimes it just needs to be pulled back to the surface and you're like, oh, yeah, I didn't forget that. I remember that, but I did forget it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you know to use it.
Yeah, hopefully you implement it.
Yeah.
So you're a certified nutrition specialist, hypnotherapist, and transformational life coach already before you joined our program.
Yes.
What is it like to do those things? I mean, what was your education, your background before you enrolled?
So it started my education before I enrolled. Are we talking about like what got me started in it, or are we talking about like
Yeah.
at Sweeha?
Yeah. We can go what's got you started.
So in 2016, I started losing my hair. I lost about half the amount of hair on my head. And I also had a loss of menses. And so I went to the doctors. They kept telling me that everything was fine. All my numbers were good, blah, 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 blah. And I like got ultrasounds done, went to see all these different people. Nobody could tell me what was wrong with me. It wasn't until I started advocating for myself and started exploring different areas and like what could actually be wrong and seeing different practitioners. I went to a nutritionist.
Mm.
And in the first session, she actually sat down, had a bunch of weird questions, and I answered them. And we figured out what it was on the first try, which was my thyroid. And so I started implementing a bunch of different things like nutrition. I stopped eating out at restaurants. I started cooking all of my own food, which led me to the passion of food and loving to cook. So I'm extremely grateful for that. So I started there with food, went on to exercise, started working out in the gym by myself, doing bad reps.
We've got a lot
Like
of
we
those.
all do. So I did that. And then I kind of reached a plateau in my healing journey. And that's about when I went to Sweeha. So from there, it was kind of more digging into the root cause of things. I also started working at Natural Medicine and Detox, which was in Phoenix. It's a fantastic place to go. It's a small mom and pop place. So really, starting to detox my body, that was one of the things, but also the mindfulness part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the hypnotherapy that I do, a lot of it, the part that I love the most is the stories that we tell ourselves aren't actually true. And when we have experiences when we're a kid or, even in our adult life, if we don't understand it, our subconscious makes up a story surrounding it.
Yeah.
So say something happens when you're a kid and your mom goes, "I hate you." And then you have this belief that is formed that everybody hates you or your parents hate you or, and that carries on into your adult life and you don't even know it. So I had a lot of stories like that growing up, with a strict grandpa and a strict life and, all of that stuff plays a role into like how you show up in the world, how you feel about yourself, the stories that you tell yourself. And getting to rewrite those is extremely empowering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Cool. So you went to Sweeha, is that what it's called?
yeah, Southwest Institute of Healing Arts is where I got my education from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where you learned how to do hypnotherapy?
It is.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
This has always been something of curiosity to me, I guess. Is everybody able to be hypnotized? Or like, I think we mentioned this, we talked about this early on in the last term, because I feel like if you don't believe, you can't be.
Absolutely. I think that has a huge part to do with it. It's like if you want it to work, it's going to work. If you don't want it to work and you want to prove it wrong, you can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
So there was a while when I was vaping and I was like, I'm going to do some hypnotherapy for vaping and it's going to, and then I like would prove to myself, I'd be like, well, I can still hit my vape. It didn't make any sense, right? But I was like trying to like control it or whatever and be like, well, I can still vape and I still have the urge and all of this stuff. But it was like I didn't actually have the alignment down. So it was more like I wanted to quit. I knew I should quit, but I didn't really want to quit, right? And so if you're not in alignment like that, then yes, it's going to be difficult and you're going to have resistance, obviously. Like that's just what happens. But if you really want it and it's in alignment with your morals, your values, which, we can figure that out when you're doing hypnotherapy as well and kind of go into that more and dive deep into that as well. So it's a lot of like reprogramming and a lot of, good stuff.
So it's not like what a lot of people think hypnotherapy is what they've seen in the movies, little pocket
Yeah.
watch. How does that actually go? Is it just getting your parasympathetic system just calmed down into a state where
Absolutely, yeah. So you get put into a parasympathetic state. So you basically do like an induction, which is a very calming, relaxing kind of just dropping you down into that. And then you count down to 1. And then by then you're completely relaxed. So your body is completely relaxed. As a hypnotherapist with my clients, we come up with a co-creative script. So basically it's their language that they want in the script and what they want to, achieve. Like it aligns with all their goals, any fears, blocks, stuff like that we address in the session. So you kind of just drop down into it. And when you're in that parasympathetic state, your subconscious is more open. So it's more willing to, be open to the things that you're suggesting to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So say something that I suggest to you isn't in alignment with what you want, and you're like, it's not going to stick. Your subconscious can reject things. But if you're open and you're willing and that's what you want, then it's receptive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So going back to old movies and whatnot, you can't just say, hey, cluck like a chicken.
No, I can't.
That
I
doesn't-
can't make people quack like ducks,
Okay.
or
So that's all just movie stuff, right? Just
there is stage hypnosis, so
there
that
is.
is a real thing. So that what you see in Vegas, I guess that's real. I don't know. I've never seen an actual hypnosis,
Yeah.
stage hypnosis session, but I've heard that it is real and that can happen. But I don't dabble with that.
Okay.
So
I think it was 15, maybe 20 years ago. My mom, she had smoked since she was 12, 13, and she wanted to quit. And she decided to try something different because she tried the patches. I think maybe even the gum. But she tried really hard to stop. And then I don't know what made her try the route of hypnotherapy, but it worked. She quit for a year.
that's awesome.
Now she's vaping,
Oh no.
which isn't really quitting. It's still delivering
No,
nicotine.
it's actually worse.
Yeah.
So
That's what I've heard.
because you're not only getting the nicotine now, it's the heavy metals from the devices. So they're made with cheap metals, right? And so those get into your body, and then heavy metals actually cause cancer and heart disease and all sorts of things. So it's actually a lot worse. So you're not only just getting the, inorganic and organic juice toxins, you're also ingesting heavy metals.
And nobody
and-
knows what's in that stuff.
Huh?
Nobody knows what's in that stuff.
No,
I mean,
nobody
it smells
does.
good. It's like,
I had to do studies. Like I had to dig on PubMed to find these studies.
Yeah.
But I got a heavy metal test done because I was like going into the root cause of what could be wrong with me, right? Heavy metals was one thing, right? And so I got my heavy metals done. My ranges were worse than my father's. And he's been alive a lot longer than I have.
wow.
Yeah.
Where do you think you got all those metals?
So definitely from vaping, from smoking,
Yeah.
from, the air, the water that everything has heavy metals in it.
Yeah.
So like basically even the food that we eat has some sort of heavy metals, and some of them can be beneficial and some cannot. Like, there's like copper and, all of that stuff that's good. But then there's like the other like harmful heavy metals. And if they are out of range, and then you can get it from like lead, from buildings, from, it's just like we live in such toxic environments these days. That's why it's so important to detox.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so awesome that I found that place that I went to,
Can't really detox with tap water, can you?
Are we bringing up the tap water? No, I don't think so. I think you're going to be ingesting like fluoride, chlorine, TDP, like a bunch of different things that you
Yeah.
don't want to. So
We're surrounded by toxins.
we
It's
are
everywhere.
They're literally everywhere. We've created this world for ourselves that we now have to.
Yeah, our houses
live in.
smell really, really good with Glade.
Yeah,
the
those hormone
plugins.
disruptors. Awesome.
We've got them everywhere. I've told my wife, I'm like, look, this isn't good for us.
It
She's like,
isn't.
yeah, but it smells better. We've got 2 dogs.
Get some incense. Get a essential oil diffuser. There's other options. People just aren't really aware of them. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this Glade thing to make my house smell good. But then
It does smell
you could
good.
get a diffuser and it smells even better. It smells more
Yeah.
natural. It's also very calming. Aromatherapy is very calming for you. So
Yes.
it's not only just, benefiting you by not getting the hormone disruptors, but it also benefits your nervous system and all sorts of stuff. So
It's
Yeah.
partly because we're lazy.
it's
called
is.
a plug-in for a reason. Super easy. You just plug it in the wall and you're done.
All you have to do is like pour a little bit in there and pour some water in there and you're good.
I don't have to. Well, yeah, with a diffuser. Yeah.
Those are nice.
We should look into that.
When's
What
your
was I gonna
birthday? I'll buy you one for your birthday.
September.
Is that one of those though that if it runs dry and you leave it that way, it just like starts burning itself?
Sometimes they turn themselves off. So if you
Do
get
they?
a nice one, you can get one that like turns itself off. I'm pretty sure.
I think we have a dozen of those right now in the house. Plugins. Like every
Yeah.
outlet's got one.
Oh,
And then
God.
candles. My wife likes to burn candles, but I'm like,
Oh,
always look at them like,
no.
what is in that? It smells good,
Yeah.
but add that to the Glade, and we're
Mm.
just basking in. The air's probably worse in the house than it
Yeah,
is
you
outside.
should get an air doctor.
But it smells good. We have all the smells of the season. So right now, I think we're still doing fall. I think that's what my
There
wife's
are
doing fall.
essential oils that have those as well. I just got some for Christmas.
Yeah.
Jasper gave me them. Well, actually, it was a Secret Santa thing. Or not Secret Santa, White Elephant
Okay.
did. So
Dang it. I wasn't there for that.
I know.
I want a diffuser now. So transformational life coach, what's that look like?
So honestly, I have the certification to be a health coach. I like to do more of the nutrition and the hypnotherapy part.
Yeah.
Transformational life coach, like I kind of feel like that's kind of all encompassing what I do.
Mhm.
So it's the mind, body, spirit, like which is
Yeah.
the nutrition, the hypnotherapy, and then personal training, right? And so kind of using those elements to create transformation in somebody's life. That's what I would like to focus on. So I am still new in this arena, and I'm sure that it's done a lot for me as far as like motivational interviewing and knowing how to talk to my clients and kind of like get down to the roots of things and ask the important questions, right? And so
Yeah.
I kind of just use it in the nutrition, and I use it in, I'll probably use it in personal training. I'll probably use those skills.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Incredibly beneficial too.
Mhm.
I think when I started my journey in this industry, I wasn't closed-minded. I just wasn't introduced to things. And the more that I've been in this industry and the more I've been introduced to things that I otherwise would not have had I not gotten in this industry, I can tell you like hypnotherapy, being a nutritionist or just knowing a lot of nutrition, breathing, all the things that you bring to the table, I think is, to me, it's awesome to see other people that absorb this information that, some people might go, that's not going to work. But having an open mind to explore these things to see if they do help, I think is what makes us good coaches, to see what does and what doesn't work. Some of these things won't work on our clients or ourselves, but some will. And that's part of the reason why we've teamed up with OPT Fitness.
Yeah, I
And
love OPT.
it's because it's so refreshing to see how Joey's kind of pivoted to more of a mind, body, spirit,
Absolutely.
kind of
So
atmosphere.
important.
It's still fitness, but he's adding all these other elements that can help people even further and benefit them in ways that fitness by itself can't do.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the first time I went in there, just to say hi, I went there first to meet him, and I'm like, dude, I love what you're doing here. Because I think it takes more than just, an online certification to really help people. So that's why we've teamed up with them, and that's why we do field trips to OPT Fitness, is so people can see that there's other things out there that can
Absolutely.
be of benefit to not just themselves but their clients. So it comes down to tools. How many tools do you have to help people?
Absolutely.
Sometimes when you get a client, you're like, all right, you've got a lot of stress in your life. Working out is going to help a little bit, but working out is also a stressor. How can we calm your nervous system down?
Absolutely.
To get more benefits, to absorb more nutrients, to drop your cortisol levels. There's all these things that we can do to help somebody in a holistic way than just lifting weights. And I think it's important for us as coaches to implement these into our practices as much as we can to problem solve. Some people just need to have a program and accountability and somebody who knows what they need as far as the physical aspect goes. But sometimes to help somebody even further, that's when we can tap into this other education, like hypnotherapy in your case.
Right. There's so many different modalities out there too. So if like one doesn't resonate, there's a million others that you can try.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like hypnotherapy, there's also like yoga nidra. Like there's all sorts of different stuff that just, you just got to start looking and like seeing what resonates with you really, and then kind of just go with it.
Yeah, with clients, just peel back that onion until we get there. And sometimes, what we think is going to peel back a layer doesn't. Let's try something else.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people with a lot of high stress jobs out there. And
Yeah,
it's not just
absolutely.
jobs. It's, their relationships, it's kids, it's lack of time. It's
Trauma.
Yeah, trauma. Good
Yeah.
one. There's a lot of this stuff out there that we can help our clients with. And it goes back to what I've said a lot of times is we can do more for clients than a lot of doctors can.
Doctors can't do. I'm not going to say that.
Well, doctors prescribe pills.
Yes,
Not
that's what
all.
they are taught to do.
Right.
They are taught to prescribe. They don't necessarily look for healing.
Right. It's
Right.
a lot of times it's a Band-Aid, not to knock on
yes.
doctors. They have a role. They absolutely do.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it's not just about taking medication. There's other things that we can do to help our clients fix issues.
Well, and then not only just that, medication has so many different side effects, right? And like I had a client, she came to me and she was, on the first visit, she was like telling me about all of her symptoms. They were side effects of what she was taking.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't know if you can get on something else or work with your doctor and like tell them that, you're experiencing all of these things and, we can work with diet and stuff like that to help implement, what you're experiencing. But, at the end of the day, like I just gave her that information and she could do whatever she wanted with it.
Yeah. 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 There's so much we can do. I think the general population, I think when they think of a personal trainer or a coach, it's just like, oh, we're in a gym setting. They're yelling at you. They might be.
Well, in some cases.
Yeah, in some
I've
cases.
seen it.
It's out there. But as a coach, there's so much that we can do. And I think it's important to have an open mind to get this extra education to help peel back these layers and help people in a bigger way than just.
Reconnect with themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
that
a
was
beautiful experience to watch too.
It is. And it's a beautiful experience to experience.
Yeah.
The first time I went to OPT, I was with the class. First time I didn't know what to expect. Joey had mentioned that, we'll start off with some breathing and then we'll talk about, first he's going to talk about himself, which he did. And then he talked about breathing, and then we did the exercise, and then we went out and we did contrast therapy. Yeah. Oh my God.
It was amazing.
I've done square breathing for the last 14, 15 years now. I've never gotten that deep into it and experienced what power breathing does. That was nuts.
I actually just had my first somatic breathing session with one of my friends who just graduated his program.
Yeah.
And it was extremely powerful, and it opened up, like it made space inside of me so that I could welcome other things in. So I got rid of all of that, the anxiety and all these things like holding me back, and it just like really opened me up, and it opened my heart in a way that I couldn't even believe.
Right.
And I felt so good for like the next week afterwards. I was like floating on my pink cloud. I was just like, wow, life is great,
Yeah.
But like if we continue to, do things like that and practice things like that, then we can continue to float through life like that.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to clear out that stale negative energy and just bring in the good stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what that did. That's
Yeah.
certainly, I wasn't expecting that. Nobody was. So now I know what to expect now.
Yeah.
And this last time I went there, I was just like, I'm not going to join them. I'm just going to sit outside.
Yeah, you better get in this time.
I know. Well, the ice bath I will, but just in the room, I just wanted the students to be present with Joey and me not be in there. Not that I don't want them to go. I don't want to not be vulnerable because I'm there. I just want the class as a whole.
I don't think
that's
that would
not
happen.
expecting.
To be honest
Maybe.
with you, you're a pretty great teacher.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. But that was a different experience because I hadn't felt that way before. Just from breathing, of all things, breathing. People
Well,
just
even
think
when we
of breathing.
exercise, our breath work is important, right? So
Yeah.
breathing in the inhale and the exhale, like you can pair it with the movements, and it's like really, really beneficial for it. It's even more beneficial, in my opinion, is when you're breathing properly.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm running and stuff like that, the proper breathing, it becomes meditative at that point. And so like when I do my long runs, I just, I go into this state where I'm just like unbreakable, right? And just meditative, and everything is in sync, and it's fantastic.
Unbreakable during a run.
I wish that was an easy way to teach people to do, because I do the same thing when I run.
Yeah.
And if I'm running 6 miles, 13 miles, whatever it is, I go in, like immediately go into that deep like
Yeah.
unconsciousness almost state of focusing on just breathing and feeling every step.
Absolutely. It's
And
really cool.
And it changes, it gives me the ability to run that far.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm running a mile, I don't do that.
Yeah.
If I'm running 3
then
miles,
you start getting
sometimes I
stuck
don't
in
do
your
that.
head too, and you're like, if you can't zone out, it's really
Right.
hard to do distance. Like
Yeah.
if you can zone out, then and meditate like through it, it's fantastic. But
And that's what wish I could teach my wife to just zone out like that and to go into that deep
yeah.
thought of just breathing and you're feeling your feet touch the ground.
Yep.
So
Super cool.
Every step hurts. I can't zone out when running it. Every step.
Well, running used to really hurt me, and then I got the right shoes.
Oh, yeah, that would help.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
Yeah. When you don't have
Shoes.
the right shoes, it's really, really painful. Like my ankles would always hurt and stuff like that. And then, I got the right shoes and I just started really enjoying it. But when I first started running, I couldn't run a mile without stopping.
That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, half a mile.
that's okay.
That's why I'm not going to do the sprint.
You're
with
not
you
going to do the Spartan with us
guys.
because you can't run?
No, I just
can-
had surgery, so
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been released yet.
I forgot you had surgery.
Mhm.
It went well.
Yeah.
That's
I don't remember it, but I'm assuming it went well.
okay.
That's the first time I've ever had anesthesia.
Yeah,
That was frightening.
I bet.
Made it 50 years without a surgery,
Mhm.
and then, yeah, that was an interesting.
See, that's what
interesting.
doctors are good for. Surgery.
Yes,
There we go.
yes. That's not all.
I know. I'm just a
Not
little salty.
crapping on them.
I'm just
but,
a little salty sometimes.
Well, I think it's just the way our system's set up. It's
Mm.
just the way, it's kind of quick fixes. It's Band-Aids for the most part, not getting to the root cause. And I
Well, they
think that's
just-
what we're doing. A lot
yeah.
of is just applying Band-Aids over Band-Aids and not getting to the root cause. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. But no, surgery went well. I've never been put down before, as I like to call it. I mean, I came back, but I was put down. It was really weird being wheeled to the operating room. And
Euthanized.
and mind you, I mean, this is just a simple hernia surgery, but I was, in my mind, frightened. I needed to do some breath work as I was getting pushed back there.
Yeah.
It's my first time
I
just
bet.
looking left and right, seeing other people that are, it's like a conveyor belt of people going into the OR. Like, look
Yeah.
at all these people. They're all getting surgery. And there's some people in there crying because I'm just a simple hernia surgery. That's
Right.
It's nothing. Other people, the guy next to me, I could hear them talking about his ankles. Both ankles needed surgery, and they're going to do something. And he's coughing violently the whole time. I'm looking at the curtain, going, "Is that filtering whatever's coming on over there?" And then I got wheeled by a pediatric room. There was some little kid there. I had my glasses off, and I couldn't wear my contacts or glasses, so it was just a blur. But I was like, "That's a kid in a bed. He's getting surgery too." And that was just
Poor kid.
revving me up even more. And then
Yeah.
finally into the room, and I saw the table that they were going to put me on. I was like, that thing's no sheets. It's just a slab. It's like a stainless steel slab.
Yeah.
They put me in there, and my anesthesiologist is like, everybody said that he was going to they do a countdown. He didn't. He's just like, hey, you're going to feel something warm. And I was like, oh, finally, because it's freezing in there. And I'm like, yeah, warm. And then next thing I know, I woke up, and there's a nurse. How you doing? I'm like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
I'm good. And I look down. I'm like, oh, it's over.
Well, yeah, that's like putting your hand or your life in somebody else's hands.
Yeah,
It's
really.
like,
It's
really-
absolutely part of my.
could be scary.
Yeah, that's why I was scared. I'm like, I hope you don't give me too much of whatever it is that puts me to sleep.
That's the reason why they make the most money.
Yeah, he was cool. He was cool. Interesting experience though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like
I
it.
don't want to do that again.
Well, let's hope you don't ever have to. So I guess that's why you're not doing the Spartan with us.
Exactly. No, I've got time. We'll see what happens. I'll be
We're
cleared.
doing the trifecta, so I mean,
I'm
you
not
can
doing that.
jump in on
I'll
the
do this.
beast with us.
I'll do the sprint. I'll do the sprint. I shouldn't need mustard packets for that.
Yeah, we're doing the sprint and the super in one weekend, and then we're gonna be doing the beast in November. So
Is it Beast back here?
yeah, they have a beast in November.
Okay, same calendar year, so it counts.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
All 3 wedges. Then you can get your shirt that says Trifecta.
Yeah. After we did the sprint the last time, I was like, I don't know, this is gonna be really difficult. But afterwards, I was like, man, I could have totally done the super.
Yeah, sprint.
I psyched myself out, but it is difficult. But if you train
Yeah.
properly, like we were doing like monkey bars and rope pull downs
Yeah.
and pull ups and all of that other stuff. So It was cool.
So is Ty and Mandy going to do it with you?
Yeah.
3 of you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
It was just you 3 that did it last time, right?
No, it was me, Ty, Mandy, and then Andrea.
Oh, Andrea, that's right.
Yeah, all of us did it.
Yep.
I think she's volunteering, so we'll see if she can get in on all of them. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's going to be fun.
we'll see. I did enjoy doing those.
Maybe I'll invite some people from our new class. We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They'll bring it up. Just have to get some shirts.
That would be cool.
Get some cool shirts.
The swole mates. That's what
Yes.
they're called. Well, it was the NPTI Reapers at first, and I was like, dude, you guys are like my swole mates.
Reapers.
Like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that too.
mm.
So what's next?
So I'm going to continue working on my business with the clients. I don't really know exactly where I'm going to go as far as like the gym setting yet. I've talked to Joey a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's an avenue that I could try and do. I was going to do EOS, but I don't think that's for me. Like, I don't want to. We'll see what happens. I don't really know exactly what I'm doing with my personal training certification yet. But it's definitely going to work into my longevity lifestylist program. So I teach people like how to grocery shop, how to meal prep, stuff like that. That's really going to support them in their healing journey. So we teach them the nutrition aspect and then the mindfulness aspect and then, you know, the movement part. And so that's really what I want to do because it's really what helped save my life, you know? It's what I'm passionate about. It's what I know about. It makes sense to me. I love it. Like, I'm so grateful that I got sick. And I know that sounds weird, but if I had never experienced those things and I had never learned the things that I learned, I wouldn't be the person that I am now. I wouldn't have gone on the path that I did. I wouldn't have truly found myself. I wouldn't have healed from all the trauma that I've been through. So, I mean, to anybody that is sick out there, like, and that is experiencing health problems, it is scary, but you're not alone and you don't have to do it alone. And that's what, you know, people like me are here for, people that have gone through it, who can really support you and really help you live a holistic lifestyle, the holistic lifestyle that we're supposed to live, right?
Yeah.
It's bringing it back to the simple things, like eating whole foods. How simple is that, right? But it's not for most people. And that's, you know, that's what people like me are here for. Like, I can teach you how to do that. And I can teach you how to lift weights. I can teach you, you know, I can teach you all of those things. And you can make it a lifestyle that is actually sustainable for you and for, you know, your goals and what you're doing. And so, yeah, that's what I plan on doing.
I love it. Yeah, it's so much easier to resonate with somebody who's been through it than somebody who hasn't. It's like you may have the education to help somebody lose weight. And say you get like an obese person. I've had plenty that I've coached. I've never been obese, so I don't know how they feel. I don't know what those feelings are. I've never had, you know, those moments where I've looked in the mirror and gone, what has happened to you? You know, how did we get to this point? I mean, maybe a little bit, but not like somebody who's, you know, morbidly obese. It's in a really bad spot. So finding a coach that's been there is really important because now it's more relatable for really each other, you know? One's there now and one was there. So I think for what you've gone through, it's, you're the person you are because of what you've gone through.
Absolutely.
And you're able to help in ways that people just read about, you know, like, well, this person feels this. Okay, well, how do we fix that feeling? I've never been there before.
Right.
You know, you can't just read how somebody feels in a book unless, you know.
Most people are so disassociated these days that they don't even know how they feel, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first went on my healing journey and somebody asked me, you know, like how I was feeling, like I couldn't explain it to them. I was just like, what do you mean? Like, how do I feel? I feel good. Like, what does good mean?
Right.
Like, exploring that. There's so many different emotions and so many different feelings, and some of them don't have names, and that's okay, you know, but like really like diving into yourself and being like, why do I feel this way? You know, what is making me feel this way? Is it outside, you know, external? Is it internal? You know, really just going in and diving deep inside yourself and turning inward when you're feeling those things is super, super beneficial.
Yeah, I don't think people realize all these things that they can do to improve their lives. Because, you know, you hear this, for example, you know, my plate,
Yeah.
you know, get your vegetables. Well, there's good and there's okay and there's bad just based on where you're getting them from, the source. Some could be very toxic.
If they're organic, inorganic,
Yeah.
like if they're homegrown, which
Right.
is the best, obviously.
Yeah. Or even like when it goes to proteins, the same thing.
Same thing, yeah, with hormones,
bread.
antibiotics, all that stuff.
So my plate just says, eat these.
Yeah,
But
it's not really good.
And I think that's where a lot of people are at. They're just like, well, I'm getting all 3 of these every
Mhm.
day, so I'm fine. Well, maybe,
But in what measurements?
right.
Yeah.
Maybe what you're getting from what you think is healthy is putting you in a place where you're at right now. Maybe,
Oh, it
you know-
absolutely can. I was vegan for 7 years, and I feel like that was what triggered a lot of my health problems is because I wasn't doing it properly. Nobody taught me how to do it properly. And so it is so important if you're going on a vegan diet to make sure that you're getting all of your amino acids and you're getting all of, the healthy fats because, all of that stuff, like the healthy fats, the Right.
Even the stuff like nightshades and stuff like that cause inflammation and things like that is what a lot of people don't understand. And that's what I was, vegetarian, vegan, really vegan for like 5.5 years, and then vegetarian for almost 14.
Yeah.
And had no idea what I was really doing other than I knew I was cutting out meat and dairy.
Well, I feel like that works for some people too, honestly, because there are different, like, I've gone into like the blood type diet, right? And that's, there's A, there's B, and then there's the O. And O is the hunter-gatherer, which is what I am. So if I wasn't properly supporting my body with meat, I needed to be properly supporting myself with the supplements that I needed, right? But I wasn't because I didn't have any idea about that. But then there's A, which is more agriculture, and B is more of like a balanced mix of them. And so like it's super interesting. Like there's different things that you can go into with nutrition too. Like one size does not fit all. And everybody is different. So it's like it can be a guessing game for sure.
yeah. But you have to, in many cases, guess and find out what works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, elimination diets are a great way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. But, all the information's on the internet. Unfortunately, not all the information is good information.
Right.
So, we're kind of in a conundrum as a country. We know we should be eating good. What's that mean? What's that look like? I think I'm eating good, but why do I feel the way I do?
Right. Well, a lot of people, when they first start eating good too, if you go from one extreme to the other, if you're going from the complete SAD diet to a nutrient dense diet, you're going to start detoxing. And so when you start detoxing, you're not going to feel good.
Nope.
And so like it happened to me when I first started juicing. So I started implementing juicing every morning, and I started feeling like shit. But it was like right after I stopped eating the SAD diet. So it was like kind of like in a transition period where I was eating whole foods now, and I stopped eating the SAD diet, and I was juicing and doing all these things. And I was like, for about a week, I kind of didn't feel well. But after that, I felt fantastic.
Yeah.
So you just got to kind of like wait it out. Give it time. Let it work for you, because if you know that you're doing the right things, like such as juicing, stuff like that can't harm you.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I don't think that can harm you, but
Yeah.
I've never seen it harm anybody by drinking a green juice,
That's pretty common with changing.
unless you're allergic to celery or something.
Yeah. Like changing just like overnight. I think like we're talking about going from my usual diet, which it was way better back when I lived in Portland, way better. We went,
Portland's produce is just amazing. by
it's
the
great.
way.
I mean, we
I
went to
don't know
New
why.
Seasons. That's where we shopped. We've had this conversation in class. It was always, man, we had like kombucha all the time. My wife was growing kombucha. We're doing it right now
Scoops.
again. She had
Nice.
scobies. We had so many scobies that I was trying to give them away to my clients. I'm like,
I'll
hey,
take one
this is
if
what you
you
need to do.
Yeah, it's
They
good.
look gross.
No, they do.
So people are like, you want me to do what with this now?
Mhm.
Yeah. But we had, we were doing, our own kombucha. We buy it. We were buying all the locally farmed organic
So
fruits, vegetables, poultry,
Mhm.
and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
And then I decided, because of one of my clients, I've done a few things just based on, I want to try this and see what happens. The first one was keto, and that didn't last long. That didn't last long at all because of the way I felt the first week. Day 1 and 2, great. I was hungry. Day 3, felt really good. Day 4, not so good.
Yeah.
I started feeling really bad. And not only that, but adding MCT oil to your coffee.
Absolutely, that helps.
That's what I did. But
helps the hunger pangs.
on day one, I'm like, all right, so what's the recommended dose here? It said a tablespoon. I'm like, tablespoon it is. I put it in my coffee, and then literally on the way to the studio, which is 5 minutes away, I almost had to pull over. Oil goes right through you. I don't know if you know this.
I've never had that experience with MCT oil.
Well, it was an awful day. Let me just put it that way. Next day, I'm like, all right, we're going to cut this in half. So I cut it in half, and same thing happened. I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I feel pretty good, other than my insides want to be on the outside.
I think that you have a really good idea of what is good for you and what isn't too. I believe that trusting your intuition on that part. Like, there's things that I've looked at where I'm like, oh, maybe this service would work for me, like as far as detoxification goes, or maybe this is, you know what I mean? And like all of a sudden I go explore that, and you either directly find out it's not for you, or you're like, yeah, I really resonate with this. And so if you don't resonate with it, there's so many different things out there that you can do to stay healthy.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be that, but I've done some fads with some clients before. That was one of them. But I like to, like, say if one of my clients wants to try this, I'm like, well, I'll do it with you. Let's do it together.
I've done that before too.
And in that case, doing the keto diet, I lasted maybe a week. She lasted for 3 or 4 months. My wife and I one time watched a documentary. I can't remember for the life of me. It was on Netflix, and the message was plant-based. This was a long time ago.
Cowspiracy. What the Health.
It was What the Health.
That's such a good documentary.
It was What the Health. So,
that really sparked an interest in me, too. Yeah. I really enjoyed that documentary.
The one that we watched in class when I was going through this program was Forks Over Knives.
Yes, I love that one, too.
That one opened my eyes. I was like, gross. What are we doing? This is disgusting. We watched it in class, and then we did like a little debrief.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, all right, follow the money. Usually you have to follow the money in documentaries. We're watching one right now on Netflix. The first episode, I can't remember the name of it. It's brand new, it just started. So they're following, I think it's 21 twins, identical twins. One of the twins gets a meat and dairy diet. The other one gets a vegan diet. They've checked all their markers. They've done their cholesterol. They've done like a VO2 test with them. They've done like a genome test. They've done all these data points where they're at right before they begin this, and then at the end of the challenge, so to speak, they're going to look at them again. They're all going to do the identical workouts. They're going to do a lot of the same things, but they're just going to eat differently.
That's actually really cool. I wish I had Netflix, but I kind of don't anymore.
How do you not?
So I was using somebody else's Netflix, and when they kicked me off, I didn't buy another one.
Pirate.
I honestly don't ever. I don't ever really watch TV.
Yeah,
if I was going to watch TV, I'd watch Gaia. That's about it.
Yeah. What is that?
Gaia is like where you find a bunch of documentaries on healing and stuff like that. Like
that's an app.
Yeah.
You just get the
but
app.
You can put it on your TV, and then it's TV, right?
Yeah. But we watched episode 2 last night, and I'm like, okay, I know who's funding this.
Who was it?
They're pooping all over the poultry industry, the meat industry.
Okay, so
and I'm like, I already know who the winners are going to be now. It's going to be the or the vegans. It's going to be them. Those are the ones that are going to win because I know where this is going. I'm like, at any moment, Bill Gates is going to pop up on the screen.
Well, what
and go,
kind of meat are they serving them anti?
It is like organic. So they were talking about
organic,
regenerative farming as being
grass fed.
Yes, yeah. They're talking about regenerative farming as a good thing. So I looked at that like, hey, that's cool. You're not completely crapping on meat. But they were talking about like the pollution from cows that meat that, having cattle creates. And they're talking about the pollution like from, these chicken slaughterhouses. And
well, what about the pollution from the cars that we drive?
Yeah. Well, they were saying the cows, they said in the documentary yesterday
I've watched documentaries like that.
That cows create more emissions than cars do a year.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I watched Cowspiracy and they kind of went into that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very interesting for sure.
But it's a what can you do? I mean, the population that we have, how do we feed them? And what are we going to feed them? So I think that's what's created these I'm trying to think of the word. what is the? I just heard it last night, like a dozen times. You know, like these places that have all these chickens and all these cows.
Mm-hmm.
There's a name for it. It's like it's
The
industrial,
farm stuff?
industrial cattle farming, I guess. I can't think of it right now. But I mean, how do we feed the population? And you know, we're talking about regenerative farming. They can regenerative farming accounts for 3 to 4% of the total meat that's made in the country. The rest of it's industrial.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this one that's just turn and burn, cow after cow, and the other one is just being fed, you know, on a big field, and then they move them to different parts of the field every so often, so that they don't kill the one that they're on. Let the other one regrow, or they move them, and then at some point, you know, they become meat.
Right.
But they're in a stress-free environment, no hormones,
That's
completely
the thing too.
natural.
You have to think about all of the trauma that's happening to those poor animals when they are industrialized like that, because they carry trauma in their bodies just like we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so eating that can also, you know, affect the way that you feel and the way that you are.
Yeah, one of the guys on there was saying when you see a label that says free range means that it went from
So many different labels.
this much to this much room.
I know.
And they're like, this is free range for a chicken, this instead of this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of eye-opening, but at the same time, I don't know what the answer is to this dilemma that we've got when it
Should
comes
all
to
have our own farms and our own gardens.
That's what I was gonna say. Grow your own.
Yeah.
Grow your own stuff.
That's actually my next adventure that I'm going to go on, is probably starting to grow my own food. I'm going to get a garden box, and I already have a microgreen rack because I'm obsessed with microgreens.
Yeah.
It's one of the best ways to get nutrition, especially if you don't like eating vegetables. You can just garnish whatever you're eating with microgreens, and they have so many beneficial vitamins and nutrients in them. So just like doing something simple like that, you know.
Yeah, we have some friends that have chickens, and the husband was like, "Damn, chickens hadn't laid any eggs, so we're eating the chickens."
Oh man.
Maybe the chickens didn't get the memo.
Yeah. Maybe.
Well, in Portland, we had co-ops. They're everywhere.
No, they have like community gardens and everything too.
Yeah, you just
Actually
see somebody's
spoke to
front
them.
yard that's got like this garden, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess the
Yeah.
community there would go and plant their own stuff, pick their own stuff, and everybody would share what they were growing.
Absolutely.
I thought that was really neat.
Yeah, I saw one of those and I was like, we need more of these. I think there are some here in Arizona. I think there's one in like near South Mountain, is because I go to the farmers markets. I actually network a lot there and work for this one lady and help her sell her raw pies. But
And there's also a place here in Arizona. I don't remember where it's at or what the name of it is, where they sell you a little lot, a little square of land, and it's all wooded off. So it's like in this grid system type thing,
yeah,
where you can go and you can grow whatever you want in your little thing, and you rent it.
yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah. Well, we've tried growing our own stuff. It all dies.
Yeah, I hear
Everything
it's hard.
dies. The only thing I think left plant-wise in our backyard is a honeysuckle. Those are hardy.
There's
Everything
this-
else is dead.
Yeah, there's a series of classes going on at the Giving Tree this weekend about like how to grow your own food and stuff like that. So that's super cool too.
Mm-hmm. I'd be interested in doing that. I just don't know if we're in
Yeah.
the right climate to do it.
It's donation based too. They talk about soil, they talk about seed quality, all sorts of stuff. And I'm probably gonna go next weekend. I
That'd
think I
be
have some
cool.
time. Yeah. So
Anyway. Well, where can people reach you?
so I have my Instagram, which is at Holistically Woke Wellness, but it's spelled with a WHOLIS. You can ask.
Holistically. Isn't it?
Holistically, like as in the whole person.
Right.
So it's Holistically Woke Wellness. You can also find me at holisticallywokewellness.com or on Facebook as well,
Cool.
or NPTI. Just
Or
kidding.
NPTI. Yep. You can go to our NPTIArizona.com, look under trainers. You would find Melissa there. You can contact her that way as well. Well, it's awesome finally having you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll figure out what's going on out there someday about regenerative farming and
Yeah, maybe
industrial
we'll have to start a
farming.
co-op together.
I think that'd be a good idea. Whose house?
I don't have a place for that. I have like a little place for a garden box, but we could get a plot of land.
We could do that. Josh, what do you think?
Move off grid.
Josh's backyard. Well, awesome. It was great finally having you in here.
Thank you
Looking
so
forward
much.
to this term. Looking forward to your future.
Me too.
You're a gem. I love your open-headedness and being, and I just love that you're willing to explore ways to help people
Thank you.
further
I
and
appreciate
benefit them. So awesome.
All right. Thank
I'll
you.
see you next week.
I'll see you next week.
All right.
All right.
We're out of here.